Tonight, your bank account looks different than it did a year ago. Maybe it's a raise. Maybe it's a bonus, a side hustle that finally clicked, or a business that stopped losing money and started making it. You feel richer. But the real answer is far stranger than feeling richer. Money does not just sit in your account waiting to be spent. It quietly asks you a question. What are you going to upgrade first? Most people answer that question with their eyes instead of their brain. A better car, a bigger apartment, a watch that costs more than their old monthly rent. And within a year, almost all of it is gone. Not stolen, not lost. Spent, quietly, invisibly, on things that made life look richer without making it richer. There is a name for this. Psychologists call it the Diderot Effect, named after the 18th century French philosopher Denis Diderot. He received a beautiful new robe as a gift. One nice thing made everything around it look shabby by comparison. So he replaced his chair, then his desk, then his art, spending himself into debt, chasing the standard that one new object had set. Sound familiar? Here is the real answer nobody tells you when your income goes up. The things worth upgrading first are almost never the things you can see. Start with the boring one. Your emergency fund. Not exciting. Not something you can post about. But every financial advisor who has actually watched people go broke will tell you the same thing. The gap between someone who survives a layoff and someone who spirals into debt is rarely their salary. It is whether they had 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting somewhere boring and liquid. When your income rises, that number rises too. Upgrade the cushion before you upgrade the couch. Next, upgrade your insurance. Health insurance, disability insurance, liability insurance if you own anything worth suing over. Here is a fact that surprises most people. Disability, not death, is the far more common financial disaster. You are statistically more likely to be unable to work for a stretch of months than to die young. Yet almost nobody insures against it. Warren Buffett has said for decades that insurance is one of the few businesses he actually understands deeply, precisely because it is the business of transferring risk before disaster strikes. You can borrow that logic personally. Insure the things that would actually break you. Ignore the things that would only inconvenience you. Now upgrade your debt. Not by ignoring it, by attacking the expensive kind first. A credit card charging you 24% is not a bill. It is a hole in your boat, and it does not care how fast you are rowing. Extra income poured into high-interest debt is a guaranteed return no stock market can promise. Why chase 8% in the market while a hole drains 24% out the other side? Upgrade your skills before your wardrobe. Sam Walton, who built Walmart into one of the largest companies on earth, reportedly drove an old pickup truck long after becoming a billionaire, pouring money back into logistics and people instead of personal display. The lesson is not that you should never enjoy money. The lesson is about sequence. Skills compound. A course, a certification, a body of work that makes you more valuable keeps paying you back for years. A jacket pays you back never. Upgrade your retirement contributions. This one is almost invisible because the money never touches your hands. It goes from your paycheck straight into an account you will not see for decades. That is exactly why it works. What is the one financial move that feels like doing nothing but is actually doing everything? It is this one. Time in the market, not timing the market, is the entire game, and every year you delay is a year of compounding you can never buy back. Upgrade your network before your image. It sounds cold, but it is one of the oldest truths in business. The people around you shape the opportunities that reach you. John D. Rockefeller, one of the wealthiest men in history, was known for surrounding himself with people who challenged his thinking on numbers and risk, not people who simply admired his success. Proximity to sharper minds is an upgrade you cannot buy with a bigger house. Upgrade your health. This gets ignored until it cannot be. A body that cannot work cannot earn. Preventive care, real sleep, real movement, these are not luxuries. They are the infrastructure. Everything else sits on. What good is a bigger income if you are too sick to use it? Upgrade your tax strategy, not evasion. Strategy. The difference between someone who keeps 60% of a raise and someone who keeps 80% is rarely luck. It is whether they understood the accounts, the deductions, and the timing available to them. This is unglamorous, invisible work, and it is worth more than almost any purchase you could make with the same money. Upgrade your home only after all of that, and even then, upgrade it slower than you think you should. Lifestyle inflation is not a moral failing. It is a psychological default. Researchers studying lottery winners found something the industry rarely advertises. A significant share of large lottery winners face financial distress again within a few years of their windfall, not because the money disappeared instantly, but because spending expanded to swallow it exactly as fast as it arrived. The house grew, the car grew, the subscriptions grew, the safety net never did. Upgrade your business systems if you run one. Reinvest before you extract. Every founder who has scaled past their first success learns the same uncomfortable truth. The moment profit gets pulled out faster than capability gets put in, growth stalls. Upgrade the systems and the people first. Let extraction come later, once the machine can run, without you standing over it every hour. Upgrade your financial education itself. Most people who come into money were never taught how to hold it, only how to earn it. Those are two completely different skills. One gets you the money. The other decides whether you keep it. Which one were you actually taught growing up? Upgrade your giving, deliberately, rather than accidentally, through guilt. Structured giving, decided in advance, tends to feel meaningful. Reactive giving, decided in the moment because someone asked, tends to feel like leakage. The difference is not the amount, it is the intention. Upgrade your documents. A will, a beneficiary list that actually reflects your life today instead of 5 years ago. Powers of attorney if you have dependents. Nobody wants to think about this, which is exactly why almost nobody does it, and exactly why it matters more than almost anything on this list. Upgrade your patience last, because it is the hardest one and the one that makes every other upgrade possible. Wealth that lasts is rarely built by a single decision. It is built by 100 small, boring decisions repeated for years without anyone watching. The lottery winner and the disciplined saver can end up with the exact same amount of money and completely different outcomes 5 years later. What made the difference was never the size of the windfall. It was what got upgraded first. Think about the order these upgrades actually happen in most people's lives, and you will notice something uncomfortable. It is almost always reversed. The car comes before the emergency fund. The vacation comes before the insurance. The new phone comes before the will. Nobody plans it this way. It just happens, quietly, one convenient purchase at a time, because visible upgrades feel like proof that something changed, while invisible upgrades feel like nothing happened at all. But invisible is not the same as unimportant. A fire extinguisher does nothing for you every single day it sits in the cupboard, until the one day it saves the house. Consider two people who each receive the exact same raise in the exact same year. The first moves into a bigger apartment within a month, and starts eating out most nights because it finally feels affordable. The second keeps living almost as before, but quietly increases their retirement contribution, pays off a high-interest balance, and adds a disability policy they had been putting off. 5 years later, their incomes might look identical on paper. Their financial realities are nowhere close. One has a mountain of depreciating obligations. The other has a foundation compounding quietly in the background. Which one of these two people would you rather be standing in 5 years from now? This is not an argument for living like a monk the moment money arrives. Enjoying some of it is part of the point of earning it. The argument is about sequence, not sacrifice. Reward yourself after the boring upgrades are handled, not instead of them. There is also a quieter danger in upgrading too visibly, too quickly. The moment people around you notice more money, the requests start arriving. Family emergencies that were never emergencies before. Business ideas from people who have never run a business. Loans both sides quietly know will never be repaid. The size of your visible upgrades often becomes the size of the expectations placed on you. Keeping some upgrades invisible is not secrecy for its own sake. It is protection for decisions you have not made yet. So tonight, when you check that bank balance and feel something shift, remember the question money is quietly asking you. Not what can you buy, what can you build? The people who stay rich are rarely the ones who upgraded the fastest. They are the ones who upgraded in the right order.